what I wanted to get at, bro, is that we got this platform here, bro, and I don't know who's gonna tune in, because it's we got different dynamics, demographics going on, and I'm hoping that we're gonna get people just tuning in because they're seeing two brothers talking slop, talking about psychedelics, and this may be the first time they're hearing of this. This is like we're just way over there, but at the same time, there's an interest, there's a curiosity, man. So for a bro or sister who's tapping in, like, one, where they going, man? Where they going with this? Where's the first steps? Where's the first steps in going with this? You mentioned things like setting, all of that might be foreign to people. So I need to hear it in our language because they might say, all right, let me go and find out about setting. And then when they're going to YouTube, they're going to see somebody who doesn't look like us. So let us share, let's just go into that a little bit, man.
Well, by setting, that means where you are, where you're going to be doing them at, who's around, who you're with. Also the setting, well, I guess that's a setting. The set is more so your mind state, your mindset, where it was at the day before, where it's at going into it. Are you setting an intention? What's the reason that you're even doing this for? Having people around that don't understand psychedelics or that might be more narrow-minded and don't have any interest in trying to open their mind, and having them around you may not be the best idea, may not be the best setting. Going to a party with a bunch of crazy ass people and you've never done this before may not be the best setting. You being alone and the set of your mind is extremely fearful, but you still want to work through this. Maybe you need somebody, maybe you need a guide, maybe you need somebody around. You know what I'm saying? This is, like I said, it's a very serious tool. It's a powerful tool. It's a great tool, but it should not be abused or taken for granted. And you should really, 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 really think about these things before you're going to enter into it. And this isn't to scare anybody. I'm not trying to scare nobody. It's not scary or nothing like that. But so that it don't be scary and so that you can handle things properly, you need to have your setting wherever you at, be straight enough to make you feel comfortable. You always want to feel comfortable. That's the most important thing. So that if something does go on during your experience where you start to feel uneasy, there's something that can bring you back, that can ground you, so to say. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, and your mind, you need to have a strong mind. You need to have some wits about you. You can't be just falling for the okie doke, doing what anybody tells you. You know what I'm saying? You need to be able to have your own words, be your own person. So, and and as like I said, intention is so important. Your intention could be to have no intention specifically, but to let whatever substance that you're partaking in do its job to the fullest, and you be able to handle it. You don't always have to go in like, oh, I want to work on past traumas because my dad abused me or because I was raped. It don't always have to be something so specific. It could just be, I really want this medicine to work on me and I want to be able to handle it and receive the messages and really transform myself and my life from it. You know what I'm saying?
Nice, bro. And earlier on, you mentioned aftercare. And a lot of the times on the circuit, we hear about integration and aftercare. And again, if you're going to Google integration psychedelics, you're generally going to see a doctor or some kind of therapist sitting down with someone. They're playing some, flute type music, and suggesting that with psychedelics, you need to have these therapeutic sessions. Like other than doing it that way, it's kind of irresponsible. There's a protocol that they kind of have set up and are setting up for the way to do psychedelics safely. So for those who maybe don't have access or couldn't afford those types of environments to go into, how do you integrate and deal with your aftercare in, if you do bring up trauma and it brings up some stuff that you may not have been prepared for, you may have experienced that. How did you deal with it, man? How do you deal with it?
It's always great if you got a community. If you got a community of people, but everybody doesn't have a community or might not feel comfortable, you know what I'm saying, sharing with everyone. But I always say everybody needs a spiritual practice. Shit, you need 5 of them, 10 of them, but everybody needs at least one dedicated spiritual practice that you can go to in any rough time of your life. And I'm not saying that psychedelics are a rough time, but because it does bring up traumas and things like that, that one experience wasn't it. It's now opened that up so that you can deal with it and you can heal through it. So then when it comes up, I don't, whatever everybody on them triggers these days. So if you get a trigger that triggers something that's come up from this experience that you know, you want to be able to go to a spiritual practice, whether that's breath work, you know, pranayama, some form of pranayama, chanting, meditation, maybe an instrument, maybe you play an instrument. You need to, meditation can be anything. Everything is meditation if you make it a meditative practice. And I feel also like when you said the therapy thing, that's a great thing right there. I mean, if you want to do online therapy, you need to do some sort of either spiritual practice or therapeutic release. You need to have this in your arsenal so that when these traumas that have been open, it's essentially like, you know, the psychedelics got all they went in and you got all these wounds that you didn't like sealed up and sewed up because like, I don't want to deal with that ever again. Let's make sure that stays closed tight. And the psychedelics go through like, which one do I feel like they can handle and you can deal with? Because at the end of the day, you got, and it's, I'm gonna go back to the Bible and say, God ain't gonna give you more than you can handle. You feel me? So if that shit going in there and whatever medicine you're doing is another aspect of you. And so it's still a part of God. It's going in there and figuring out what it feel like you need to rip open, which of these scabs or wounds you need to rip open, not in a negative way, but so that it knows that it's time for you to deal with that and heal through it. So rip that scab open and you need to have some Neosporin or whatever kind of ointment on hand, you feel me? So that you can, one day when you might be jogging, you might have hit a turn too hard and the scab open a little bit more, like, oh, there it go again, it's starting to gush. Let me put that Neosporin on them and deal with this, because it's not about suppression. We don't want to suppress no more, but we want to let that shit come up and feel them feelings, and then, you know what I'm saying, let it go.
Nice, man. No, I appreciate the sharing there, bro. And you
I'm
mentioned
going all around, but I hope that answers your question.
That's why we talk slop, bro. This, you know, it's all in there, man. It's all in there.